My best friend's challenge turned me into a princess. I never considered myself anything special. Just another 17-year-old guy trying to blend in, trying not to stand out. I was average in every way. Average height, average grades, average looks. Nothing about me ever screamed unique. And I was fine with that. Or at least, that's what I told myself. But deep down, I knew there was something different about me. Something I never dared to say out loud. It wasn't that I disliked being a guy. It wasn't even that I wanted to be a girl. It was more like I felt disconnected from who I was supposed to be. Like I was living a life that wasn't quite my own. Like I was stuck in clothes that didn't fit right. Walking a path that wasn't mine to take. I buried those thoughts under layers of sarcasm and indifference. It was easier to go with the flow, to laugh when the guys in my class made dumb jokes, to shrug off my discomfort like it was nothing. But in quiet moments, late at night, staring at my reflection in the mirror, I wondered what it would be like to be someone else. Someone prettier. That was a dangerous thought. So I pushed it away. Besides, I had real problems to deal with. My parents barely noticed me, too wrapped up in their own lives. School was tolerable at best, a battlefield at worst. And friends, well, I had exactly one Emma. Emma was everything I wasn't. Confident, charismatic, and completely unapologetic about who she was. She could walk into a room and own it without even trying. And for some reason, she stuck by me. She always said I was more interesting than I let myself believe, but I figured she was just being nice. She was the only person who ever made me feel seen. And that's why, when she threw down the challenge that would change everything, I didn't laugh it off like I normally would. I should have, but something inside me, something I barely understood, wanted to see where this would lead. It started as a joke, or at least, that's what I told myself. Emma and I were hanging out in her room after school, sprawled across her bed like we always did. She was scrolling through TikTok while I pretended to do my homework. But really, I was just watching her, how she carried herself with such effortless confidence, how she never seemed to doubt who she was. I envied that. "Hey," she said suddenly, breaking the silence. "You ever wonder what you'd look like as a girl?" I froze, my pencil stopping mid-scratch. My heart did this weird little jump, like it had been waiting for this question my entire life. But I played it cool. I had to. "That's a weird question," I muttered, keeping my eyes on my notebook. Emma smirked. "No, seriously. I saw this challenge online where guys let their friends do a full-on girl makeover. Like dress, makeup, the whole deal." She sat up, eyes glinting with mischief. "We should totally do it." I laughed, too quickly, too nervously. "Yeah, right. What? Scared you'd look too good?" she teased, poking my arm. I rolled my eyes, but my throat felt tight. I'd look ridiculous. She tilted her head, studying me in that way that made me squirm. "I don't think so. I think you'd look kinda beautiful." That word sent a jolt through me, and I swallowed hard. No one had ever called me that before. Not handsome. Not cool. Beautiful. Emma grinned like she could see straight through me. "Come on, it's just for fun. One night. One look. And if you hate it, we never speak of it again." I should have said no. I should have laughed it off. But instead, I heard myself say, "Fine. One night." And just like that, my world shifted. The second I agreed, I regretted it. What the hell was I thinking? All night, I tossed and turned in bed, my brain screaming at me to call Emma and back out. This was stupid. Just because she thought I could pull it off didn't mean I actually wanted to. Except a part of me did. That part had always been there, whispering whenever I caught myself staring at girls' outfits longer than I should. It spoke when I lingered too long in the makeup aisle, pretending I was looking for a gift but secretly wondering how lipstick would feel on my lips. I told myself it was just curiosity, that every guy probably had these thoughts at some point. But deep down, I wasn't sure if that was true. The next day, I walked into Emma's house feeling like I was marching toward my own execution. She was already bouncing with excitement, her bedroom transformed into a full-on makeover studio. Clothes were scattered across her bed. Skirts, dresses, blouses and soft fabrics in pastel colors. A full makeup kit sat on her desk, alongside a curling iron and hairbrushes. My stomach twisted. "This is a lot." Emma rolled her eyes. "Duh, I'm going all out. You agreed to this, remember?" I hesitated by the door, my fight-or-flight instincts kicking in. "Yeah, but..." She grabbed my wrist and tugged me inside before I could finish my excuse. No backing out now, princess. Princess. The word sent a weird, fluttery feeling through me. I should have hated it, but I didn't. Emma must have noticed the way I stiffened because her playful smirk softened. Look, if you're seriously uncomfortable, we can stop. But I think you'll surprise yourself. I swallowed, my throat dry. I don't know if this is me. She gave me a knowing look. Then let's find out. And just like that, she started. First, the clothes. She handed me a silky pink dress, nothing over the top, just a simple, flowy thing that looked impossibly soft. I stared at it like it might bite me. Go on, she nudged. My hands trembled as I took it and stepped into the bathroom. I avoided the mirror as I undressed, my heart hammering as I pulled the dress over my head. The fabric slid against my skin like something forbidden, something I wasn't supposed to enjoy. But God, I did. I took a shaky breath and forced myself to look in the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't me. Not exactly. The dress clung in ways my usual clothes didn't, the hem brushing just above my knees. I looked different. Lighter. I hesitated before stepping out. I look stupid, don't I? Emma's eyes widened. Holy crap. I fidgeted. Is that a good holy crap or? She grabbed my shoulders and turned me toward the full-length mirror. Look! And I did. For the first time, I really looked. And what I saw wasn't ridiculous. It was possible. A version of myself I'd never allowed to exist. Something inside me cracked open just a little. Emma grinned. Told you. Now sit down, I'm doing your makeup. I should have protested. Should have told her the dress was already too much. But instead I sat and let her turn me into someone new. The first problem was my own reflection. Once Emma finished my makeup, soft pink lips, long curled lashes, a hint of blush, I barely recognized myself. It wasn't just the dress, or the way she'd styled my hair into loose waves. It was the way I felt looking at it all together. Like this version of me had always been there, just waiting for permission to exist. That terrified me. You okay? Emma asked gently, catching the way I stared at myself. I don't know, I admitted. My voice sounded smaller, raw. She squeezed my hand. You don't have to figure it all out right now. Just breathe. I did. And for a moment, I felt okay. But the real challenge came when Emma had another idea. We should go out. I jerked back. What? Just for a little while. Maybe grab a drink, walk around, see how it feels to just be like this. No way, I said instantly. What if someone recognizes me? What if? Emma crossed her arms. First of all, no one's gonna recognize you. And second, why does it matter? You look amazing. That's not the point. I snapped. I didn't even know how to finish that sentence. The truth was I was scared. Not of the dress. Not even of the makeup. But of what this meant. Because this wasn't just a joke anymore. It felt too real. And real things had consequences. Emma must have seen the war going on inside me, because she softened. Look, we don't have to go anywhere. But don't let fear make the choice for you. I inhaled sharply. Okay. Fine. But just for a little bit. The moment we stepped outside, my heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. I kept my head down as we walked, my hands clenched into fists. Every person we passed felt like they were staring, like they knew I didn't belong like this. But then, something strange happened. No one looked. Or if they did, it wasn't with judgment. A couple of guys at a cafe smiled at me. A girl complimented my dress as she passed by. And for the first time in my life, I understood what it felt like to be seen in a way that didn't make me want to disappear. Emma nudged me. See? Told you. I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a mistake after all. But then, just as I was starting to feel okay, disaster struck. A voice called out from behind us. Dude, is that you? I turned, my stomach plummeting. It was Ryan, one of the guys from school. I felt the blood drain from my face. His eyes flicked over me, widening in recognition. And then he laughed. Oh man, this is priceless. What? Did Emma force you into this? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My body locked up, frozen in place. Emma, however, wasn't having it. She stepped between us, arms crossed. And what if he wanted to do this? Ryan snorted. Yeah, right. He's probably dying of embarrassment. He turned back to me, smirking. Come on, dude, joke's over. You can drop the act. My throat burned. My entire body screamed at me to run, to rip off the dress, to do something. But before I could, Emma grabbed my hand and pulled me away. Not worth it, she muttered. I stumbled after her, heart racing. I expected her to say something, to tell me that Ryan didn't matter, that his opinion was stupid. But she didn't have to. Because the truth was, I was embarrassed. Not because of the dress, not because of the makeup, but because part of me wanted to turn around and tell Ryan that he was wrong. That this wasn't just a joke. And that scared me more than anything else. I didn't go to school the next day, or the day after that. I told myself it was because I was sick, that I needed time to shake off what happened with Ryan. But the truth was I was scared. Scared of what he'd told people. Scared of what I'd see in the mirror if I looked too long. But mostly, I was scared of how much I wanted to do it again. Emma wouldn't let me hide forever. On the third day, she showed up at my house unannounced, arms full of shopping bags and a determined glint in her eye. We're not doing this, she declared, pushing past me. I sighed. Emma. Nope. Shut up. Sit down. Before I could argue, she dumped the contents of the bags onto my bed. Skirts, tops, makeup, accessories, even a wig. I swallowed hard. Why are you doing this? Emma sat beside me, her voice softer. Because I saw how happy you were, even if it was just for a little while. And I think you deserve to feel that again. You think you deserve to feel that again. My hands clenched in my lap. She wasn't wrong. I wanted to say no, to push her away, to pretend that night had never happened. But instead I nodded. Okay. The process was different this time. More deliberate. Emma worked carefully, letting me watch as she guided me through each step. How to blend foundation, how to line my eyes, how to choose colors that suited me. And when I slipped into the dress she'd picked, something clicked. I turned to the mirror, breath catching in my throat. This wasn't a costume. This wasn't a joke. This was me. For the first time, I saw myself fully, really saw myself. Not as a guy pretending. Not as someone playing dress-up. But as the girl I had always been, waiting for permission to step forward. Emma grinned behind me, resting a hand on my shoulder. There she is. A warmth spread through my chest. For once, I didn't argue. The moment I stepped into school, everything inside me screamed to turn back. My heart pounded, so hard I thought I might pass out. My hands clenched the fabric of my skirt, my nails digging into my palms as I forced myself forward. I can do this. I have to do this. Emma had insisted I didn't have to, that I could take my time, ease into things. But I knew myself. If I didn't face this now, I never would. I wasn't going to hide anymore. The hallway buzzed with morning chatter, lockers slamming, people laughing. And then silence. One by one, heads turned. Conversation stalled. Eyes locked onto me like I was some kind of spectacle. The whispers started almost immediately. Is that? No way. What the hell? Dude, is he serious? I wanted to shrink into myself, to disappear. Then, someone stepped into my path. Ryan. Of course it was him. He looked me up and down, his mouth twisting into a sneer. So it's true. His voice was loud, meant for an audience. Guess the princess really liked the dress after all. Laughter rippled through the crowd. My stomach knotted, my breath coming short. This is it. This is where it all falls apart. But then Emma. She pushed past Ryan, planting herself beside me. Yeah, she said, her voice unwavering. She does. The laughter faltered. She had called me she. Emma turned to me then, squeezing my hand. You okay? I wasn't sure how to answer. I was humiliated, terrified, exposed. And yet, something inside me burned. I had spent so much of my life afraid. Of being seen. Of being known. Of what people might say if they ever found out who I really was. But now, there was nothing left to hide. The worst had already happened. The whispers, the stares, Ryan's ridicule, it was all out in the open. And I was still standing. Slowly, I straightened my shoulders. I looked Ryan in the eye, forcing the shake from my voice. I'm not your joke, I said. For the first time, he had nothing to say. I turned away, my head held high, my heart hammering in my chest. Emma walked beside me, her grip steady on my hand. And as we moved forward, something miraculous happened. A few people smiled. A couple of girls whispered and gave me a nod of approval. One guy even clapped. Not everyone laughed. Not everyone sneered. Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't alone. And that realization, it changed everything. A week later, I stood in front of the mirror in my room, adjusting my hair, a quiet smile playing on my lips. It was funny how something so simple, something I had feared for so long, had now become normal. The stares at school hadn't completely disappeared. Some people still whispered, still gave me looks. Ryan hadn't said much since that day in the hallway, though I could feel his resentment like a storm cloud hanging nearby. But for every cruel glance, there was an encouraging one. For every whisper, a voice of support, Emma made sure I never walked alone. A couple of girls in my class had started inviting me to sit with them at lunch, complimenting my outfits, asking me about makeup. Even some of the guys, ones I never thought would give me the time of day, treated me like a person. Not a joke, not a freak, just me. I exhaled slowly, running my fingers over my skirt before grabbing my bag. When I stepped out of my room, my mom was waiting in the hallway. She studied me for a long moment. Then, to my shock, she smiled. "You look beautiful." A lump formed in my throat. "You really think so?" She reached out, tucking a stray hair behind my ear. "I do." I blinked back the sudden sting of tears. For so long, I thought this was something I had to fight for. Something I had to prove. But maybe I didn't. Maybe I just had to be. I gave my mom a small, grateful nod before heading out the door. The world outside didn't feel quite so heavy anymore. The whispers would still come. The challenges weren't over. But I wasn't running from them anymore. I wasn't hiding. I had stepped into the light, and I was never going back. Looking back, I realized now that fear had been my biggest enemy, not Ryan, not the whispers, not the judgment. I had spent so much of my life afraid of what others might think, of whether I would be accepted, of whether I even deserved to be myself. But the truth is, no one gets to decide who you are except you. People will always have opinions. Some will misunderstand. Some will refuse to see. But there will also be those who stand by you. Those who remind you that you don't have to face the world alone. And most importantly, there will be you. The real you. The one who has always been there, waiting to step into the light. Waiting to shine. I used to think being myself was something I had to earn. Now I know being myself is my right. And no one will ever take that away from me again.